The following podcast contains coarse language and adult themes. This week on the show, in solidarity with all of our LGBTQIA plus peoples and the rest of this beautiful race we call human, whatever sex, colour or creed, we are spending Pride Month talking about the most diverse and inclusive group of fictional characters ever created, the Mutants, starting with the fantastic cartoon series sequel, X-Men 97. I'm Riggs.
Ich bin Kurt Wagner!
And we are Mutant and Proud. Hey folks, and welcome back to the FILM ADDICTS podcast. If you heard me laughing in the roundup there, it's because not only did Addy do a spot-on impersonation of Nightcrawler, but he also produced some swords. Where'd they come from?
I bought them just for this.
I'm so grateful that you did. How is everybody? Thank you so much for joining us. Happy Pride Month. Not making a big thing out of it. Just want to say, hey, this is where we're at, and blessings to all, really. How are you, my friend?
I am okay.
Oh, good. That sounds great. Happy Pride to you as well, sir.
Happy Pride to you too.
Excited to be talking about the X-Men with my hot tea. But before we get into that, what have you been up to? What's been happening?
Oh, I've been learning German, which is how that came about.
Is that why you're just pretending to be a German X-Men?
Kind of.
Okay, all right, cool. What brought that on?
And I've loved Nightcrawler from the first time I've seen it. And I also like Dark, which is a German show. I just, I've been learning German for 50 days now.
Amazing. That's how are you going? Can you rock any out for us?
I said I am Kurt Wagner in German in the intro.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
I only heard the Kurt Wagner bit, so I didn't catch the start of it. Das ist ein something. That's as much as I remember. And brought
Brot is bread.
Bread, and Käse is cheese. And that's all I remember from 3 years of German in high school. I don't know what the fuck I was doing learning German in high school. It was 1994. Why were we learning that? It didn't make any sense. Maybe they thought at some point we'd all do European vacations or whatever, but it didn't happen. Anyway, so German, that's pretty cool. What else have you been up to?
Nothing much as of late.
Nothing much?
I turned 21, but that's it.
Yes, happy birthday to you. That's right. Addy is officially allowed to drink in the United States immediately after quitting drinking. But whatever, it's not a big problem. Congratulations. Did you do anything cool for your 21st?
So I went out to eat at a restaurant.
And what did you have? Was it German food?
It
Lots of sausage.
Was it? It wasn't.
Did you get some serious sauce? And some sauerkraut?
No, but it is Pride Month, and I'm looking for sausages anywhere I can.
Anywhere, anybody out there got some serious Pride sauce? Come on, let's bring it the fuck on. Wonderful. That's wonderful news, and congratulations again on turning 21. It's quite a feat. And I love your t-shirt, by the way. Addy's wearing an X-Men t-shirt with Rogue on it, and it's fucking dope. I love the design.
I didn't know it was going to be purple, and I love it because purple is my favorite color.
Hey, that's cool. I'm wearing mine. Emerald green's mine. I don't know why. Just dig it. Maybe I'm secretly the Wizard of Oz. Anyway,
that would be awesome.
It would be, wouldn't it? Yeah, have like. Well, I mean, that's kind of what podcasting is. The illusion of having some grand platform or power, and really, you're just a dude behind a curtain, Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Nobody know how. I fucking love The Wizard of Oz. That movie is the shit. We need to do it. It's fucking... It's amazing. And actually, we could have done it for Pride Month because it's got such a huge, LGBT following behind it. It's like got a whole culture behind it. And I've seen it at the cinema a couple of times now, and fuck, it holds the fuck up. I love it. Anyway, regardless of Wizard of Oz.
Before all that, how are you doing?
I'm good. A couple of big sort of moves going on. I'm a bit worn out, honestly. I need a break from stuff. It's just been a go year already. Like, it's fucking June. Like, what the fuck is going on with June? Like, it's just Remember when I was sick at the start of the year? That feels like yesterday. So I'm just trying to contend with time racing merrily forward. Have I done anything interesting? I guested on a few other pods. I was on the Sequel Suck podcast talking about Batman Returns, which I love. And that was good fun. And I was back on with Tommy. DL was on his honeymoon, so I stepped in and we talked about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is fucking the shit. I enjoyed it anyway. Tommy didn't like it much. But, he didn't like it as much as I did. And we were on with the Till the End of the Line boys talking about this very subject being X-Men 97. We had a great roundup with them, which was really lovely. But we thought, being that we're spending Pride Month or June and a bit of July talking about X-Men pictures or X-Men related stuff, that we would come back and talk about it, specifically just the two of us, because we have some specific feelings about it. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of the episode, I don't know why I said that. Addie called it meat and potatoes one time, and now I can't let it go. Do you want to talk about what were we watching?
I guess we could do that.
Have you been watching some stuff?
Some stuff, yeah, for sure.
Wonderful. All right. Well, what are we
watching?
What are we watching? What are we watching? Well, I'm going to go through what I've been watching, because I feel like you've been watching more than me, because I've been quite busy. A couple of weekends ago, I went to my church, the Astor Cinema on Chapel Street in Melbourne. They were doing a Ghostbusters marathon. So they did Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, all in one day. And it was fucking lovely. I was just completely checked out in a total Ghostbusters place. They also played an episode of the real Ghostbusters cartoon series from the 80s, like in the middle, which was really awesome. And then I went out and had a lovely late night dinner to myself. It was one of my days of pure peace, and it was excellent. So thank you, the Astor. Those movies fucking rule. If you don't like the new ones, I don't fucking care. Like, don't like them, then go and watch the originals again or whatever. Like, it's not for you. I was a little disappointed they didn't play the one they did in like 2016 or whatever with the female cast, because that's actually a really good movie. Like, if you just enjoy it as an artifact and what it is, like, it doesn't have to be involved with the rest of the series. So I watched that when I got home. It was like 2 a.m, but still, it was up. But yeah, the amount of children that were there dressed up as Ghostbusters, it was fantastic. And it wasn't for the new movies, because most of them left before those ones came on. Like, it was for the original OG. So if these newer movies are bringing a younger audience to the originals, that can only be a good thing, I feel. But yeah, loved it. Have you seen the newer ones?
I did. I'll talk about it in my section.
Oh, okay, sure. McKenna Grace is just such a talent.
She's amazing.
I dig her a lot. I also finished watching Sugar, which is a TV series on Apple with Colin Farrell. Now, those of you who've seen it will understand how fucking outrageously surprising it is. I'm not going to ruin anything, but it's a really fucking great show. It's this sort of neo-noir detective story, but with quite an interesting sort of plot contrivance going on. So I highly recommend it. Anyway, Colin Farrell is one of the most talented actors working today, man. Like, I even when he was young and doing stuff like SWAT, and which is actually a really good fucking action movie, honestly, or the remake of Total Recall and all that kind of stuff, he's really in it. And then he's done beautiful work with Yorgos Lanthimos. Like, The Lobster's amazing. Killing of a Sacred Deer is one of the best male performances I've ever seen. He's great. I love him. And also, he was the inspiration for my haircut that I got for a wedding I was doing a speech at recently. So thank you, Colin, for that. And last night, I watched a movie on Netflix, a French film called Under Paris, and it was about a bunch of mako sharks making their way into the seams, I think it might be the seams, whatever the body of water is that runs through France. And these sharks make their way into it, and it's coinciding with this sort of pre-Olympic marathon, like triathlon swim thing that they're doing, and there's all these cops like going, "There's sharks," and the mayor's going, "No, there's not," and it was just like, it was really, really fucking big and stupid, and it ended, I won't say how it ended, but it ends in one of the most baller fucking moves I've ever seen for one of those shark pictures. It was just, oh, holy shit, and then credits, and no sequel setup. I was like, okay, that was great. And I ate a whole bowl of popcorn in about 20 minutes because I was so tense. And the only thing that gave me a slight reprieve was my little cat son jumping up, Clark. He was completely dead asleep in front of the fire, and then he heard me munch a piece of popcorn, and he loves popcorn because he's just like me. And he jumped up onto the couch, and I had to hand feed him bits of popcorn while I was watching this fucking shark movie and chewing, and it was a really fucking good night. So that's what I've been watching. What have you been watching?
I love that. I love that you fed him.
Yeah, Clark loves popcorn, and he gets all buttery and then licks his chops heaps. Perry loves peas, like frozen peas. You fling them along the ground, and he chases after them and then bats them around a bit until they thaw, and then he eats them. And Paul fucking loves everything. What Paul likes to do is scoop his... Let me know in the comments if anyone else's cat does this. Instead of drinking like water from the bowl like normal, he dips his paw into it and then licks his paw.
I've seen that very recently.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
That's a thing that cats do. Our old cat Splodge didn't do that. She used to just like drink out of the tap, which was pretty funny too.
It's cool.
Weird brothers, these cats. Anyway, so what have you been watching? Anything shark related?
So you talked about Colin Farrell and his remake of Total Recall. I watched the original.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's a fucking great movie.
It's pretty great. It's also really messed up how they explode, but pretty great.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, that's Mars for you. You should get your ass there.
What?
So the second episode of the third episode of the Stitch Up was on Total Recall, actually, way back in the day, back in like 2016 or whatever. I love that movie. Did you like it?
I did. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's fucking sexy picture.
It's probably the only Arnold Schwarzenegger movie I like.
Oh, really? What about Predator?
I'm not a huge fan of Predator or Terminator for that matter.
Okay, that's not good. About the Predator one, I was like, we've got to do an episode of that one day. Fine, I'll do it alone. And you like Prey too, which is funny.
Prey has nothing to do with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, that's true. It'd be funny if he did turn up into it in ancient fucking America. Yeah, cool. What else did you see?
I have been watching so many fucking shows, dude. I can't tell you.
There's too many. There's so many shows. You can't keep up. We finished like 3 this week. It was like The Reluctant Traveler, the Eugene Levy's travel show. I'm watching Dark Matter on Apple. We finished Shrinking. And we just watched, which Shrinking's amazing. Like, I'd seen it before, but Em hadn't. Like, Harrison Ford doing comedy as an old man is great. And there's a really good show on here, an Australian produced show called Colin from Accounts, about these 2 people who meet because one of them, they're sort of both involved in the accidental hitting of a dog by a car. And they kind of take it in and build their relationship based on looking after this dog. And it's fucking hysterical. It's a really good Australian show. It was created by the same people who did No Activity. Yeah, I really loved it. Anyway, sorry, just saying how much TV there is out there and you know, just how many shows like we've watched in the last little bit. So what were the ones you've seen?
So I was Normal People on my birthday because that's a ritual.
How many? So you've seen it 21 times then?
No, it's 23.
23, wonderful.
Yeah. But so I've been watching X-Men 97 constantly since it's aired, so that doesn't count.
No. I did it all, the full run this week as well, just watching a couple of episodes a night, just kind of sinking in and making notes for today and stuff. It's so great. It really it's probably one of the best things Marvel's done. I
will go on a limb and say it is the best thing that Marvel has done.
Yeah, I mean, Hawkeye, but whatever. I fucking love Hawkeye. Everybody, makes fun of me. I don't give a shit. I fucking love it.
I don't make fun of you. We wrote about it together.
I know. No, not you. I'm talking about other people who are like, really? Hawkeye? Like, yeah, maybe fuck yourself. And I like the things that I like, and you can like things that you like.
You know what?
Is it like I come up and said, oh, I really like killing people and eating their flesh? Like, I don't. Just like for the internet record, I don't. I'm not a cannibal. Army Hammer's not on a close personal friend or anything. I am absolutely like derailing this train every time you try and talk. So you've been watching X-Men and you watched Normal People for your birthday. What else have you watched? Anything new?
I rewatched the entirety of The Umbrella Academy because I forgot how good it was, and it's like, dude, this shit like hits you from episode 1 and then just doesn't stop, and it is incredible. You should watch it.
Right on. Yeah, final season this
This October.
is coming out soon. Yeah, wow.
But I don't know.
I like Gerard Way. I think he's a really interesting cat. The guy who created the comic. He's the lead singer of MCR, the My Chemical Romance, who are a fucking great band. Actually, if anyone out there wants to do a supercut of X-Men 97 clips to Teenagers, the MCR song, that would be fucking dope. Someone's probably done it already.
So I watched do you like watch C to B grade movies?
Yeah, you know, I usually like them if they're monster related, like Under Paris, you know, or fucking Lava Lantulas or something like that, you know, or Megalodon or something. You can't say that any other way. You can't just say the Meg. Megalodon. Megalodon. Ma. 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 Now I'm just looking at my own image on the screen and seeing how silly my face is. Sorry.
So I watched Double Down, which is Neil Breen's first movie, and it's one of five. It's a movie.
Neil Breen.
Yeah.
Well, who's that?
So Neil Breen is this guy who writes, directs, acts, edits. He's the visual effects supervisor, the visual effects guy, the set designer. He's the one-man show. This guy he makes the things that he wants to make, and like he just does it.
Yeah, right.
What
else has he done? Like, what would I have known? What would I know? Or nothing?
Yeah, probably nothing.
Okay.
But he is famous for the film called Faithful Findings, which is, I think, his third or fourth one. And it's like he's famous for that film because he has more actors in that, except him. Like Double Down is basically him in establishing shots plus a voiceover plus stock footage.
The name sounds really familiar, but I think I might be conflating it with somebody else. I think I'm thinking of Neil someone or other, the guy who directed District 9.
Yeah, no. That's not Neil Breen.
Not that guy?
Nope.
Cool. Was it a good movie at least?
See, these aren't good movies. Like you have to. But it did give me an idea that we should do that. Our first commentary was Jaws, and the only way to balance that out is to show you The Room,
which might be the worst movie ever made. I'm told.
It's not.
I haven't seen it.
It's not. Madam Web is, when probably The Flash.
Fucking some Madam Web shade for no reason, you little prick. Poor Madam Web. Oh, I don't give a shit, actually.
But yeah. Yeah, we should do The Room, because I
think there's an argument that the worst movie ever made is Argyle, mate. That is a piece of shit.
I can't hear you, man.
Yeah, no, you can't. Every time I say it, all you hear is making silly noises today. Cool. So check out some of that gentleman's catalogue if you like movies that are not good. And anything else?
Oh yeah, I did this fucked up thing where I watched The Witch, Hereditary, Midsommar, and I ended it with The Fall Guy.
Oh, that's it. No, that's actually probably good. Like The Witch, Hereditary, and
Midsommar.
What was the other one? Midsommar. Did you watch the long one, the 3-hour cut?
For Midsommar?
Yeah, there's like a 3-hour long director's cut.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then going the Fall Guy, that's the move. Did you? Which was your favorite?
The Witch, because, folklore and shit.
Is it Anya Taylor-Joy?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's good in Furiosa. I just saw that the other night. Really fucking good.
I
wasn't expecting to like it. I went because a friend of mine was like, do you want to go? And I was like, I want to hang out with you, my friend. I'll go and see whatever. And I really had a good time with it.
That's cool. I still haven't been able to get past the first 3 minutes of Mad Max.
That's the first one or the Fury Road?
No, Fury Road.
I mean, it's worth it. If you can get past it, it's worth your time. I think you'd probably like Furiosa more. And you don't need to have seen Mad Max to watch that at all.
No, but, like yourself, I'm a completionist too.
Yeah, I fucking hate that about myself. I'm getting better at not being like that. What did you think of the Fall Guy?
Oh, I loved it so much.
It's so much fun, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, I started with The Witch was at 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I went all the way till like 3 a.m. completing Midsommar.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 8 a.m. I had the Fall Guy showing in theater.
Yeah, nice.
So
that's a good life. It's a good life choice.
It's not, because around 3 a.m. at the end of Midsommar, you're like, is this my hand or is it actually the table?
Yeah, there is something to be said about sleep deprivation, buddy. I will admit that, but a movie is a good way to at least fill the time. I've pretty horrible insomnia, so it's yeah. I've actually gotten into recently when my insomnia's been kicking my ass. Sorry, because I don't know why. I just have had it really badly. I've been reading scripts, which I did for years and stuff, but I kind of went away from it. Now I'm going back and like reading. There was a script that Chris McQuarrie wrote for the Wolverine before they ended up making it with James Mangold, which is really interesting. Justice League Mortal, the movie that George Miller was supposed to direct, with like Armie Hammer as Batman and the kid from the OC as Flash, and they were in Sydney, and Megan Gale was Wonder Woman. They've got makeup and costume tests online and everything. They were getting ready to shoot this big Justice League movie, and then the writer's strike happened and it went to shit. Nothing happened. George Miller, the director of Mad Max. But you can find the script online, and it's horrible. Like, it's a really bad script. I don't know if they would have made a good movie out of it, but it's I don't know. But yeah, I'm reading the Raiders of the Lost Ark script, the first draft that Lawrence Kasdan handed in to Spielberg, and it's really different. Like, there's lots of extra scenes and interesting shit going on and stuff. So yeah, that's been my insomnia cure lately. But movies are a good one too. I know you struggle with sleep.
Yeah. But the thing is, I don't do that always. My insomnia has told me to get back into comics, and I've been reading House of X, which is insane, and I love it.
Yeah, right. Awesome. That's a good way to spend your time too.
Yeah, like, I was like, if there's the jumping point from knowing what the X-Men are to actually getting into a story, I think House of X is amazing.
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus. Yeah, a lot of people are into that. Any of the stuff that's sort of more recent is quite convoluted, like post Cyclops getting this Phoenix power and Krakoa and all that shit. It's a bit, yeah. Back then it was a little bit simpler. There's a really good period for Rogue and Gambit stories in sort of the mid '90s when I think it was Scott Lobdell was writing. He's one of the Man of Action guys. And Joe Madureira was doing art, and there's like the trial of Gambit and all that stuff. Really, really good sort of period of time too. You can get hold of it. That's the Uncanny X-Men series. Anyway,
I have like 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Godzilla vs. Kong, which is I gave it like 4.5 stars, which I kind of stand by because there's less humans in here. But Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
But it's doing what it's advertising. Like, it's not saying it's anything that it's not. It's a big monkeys, big lizard. Like, that's what we're doing. Like, that's why people go.
Yeah, and I kind of love how fucking like Mothra comes back in this one.
Good old Mothra.
I don't care. I don't care if I spoil for anybody. The poster there for me, so fuck you.
It's been out for a while. Sorry, I yawned. It's been out for a while.
But yeah, it was an experience for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And just I wish that I could see how big Godzilla and Kong were from a scale of a human, not just have medium shots.
Yeah, sure. Or next to a building.
Yeah, but some like dude, the other like Scar King ape, he's like climbing on buildings and shit, and they still look like steps. They're not supposed to look like that.
No, these are big monkeys and lizards. You gotta remember that.
But yeah, and then I got a little hungry and I watched Chef by Jon Favreau.
Love that movie.
And I love it because deep down it's a movie about Jon Favreau being pissed at Disney for firing him from Avengers, and you can only see it with that context.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely a response to the treatment that he received on Iron Man 3 and just the Iron Man 2 rather, and the enormity of working within that specific space of huge franchise pool, because at that point, you know, they knew it was going to be something. They had, you know, everybody had gotten a picture then. Avengers was coming. It was a really, really big thing. I would have been interested to see his Avengers picture. Like, Joss Whedon is very specific in the way that he constructs narrative, and it's all, like, he's a great wordsmith and a great dialogue guy, but his stories go exactly where you think they will. His best work is still Firefly, in my opinion, but yeah, Favreau's Avengers would have been cool. But Chef fucking rules, man. John Leguizamo in that movie is a fucking
amazing
treat. I love that guy so much. He's got a great stand-up on Netflix called Latin History for Idiots or something, and it's absolutely hysterical and really, really informative. And yeah, I love him so much. It's a very good picture.
It's like the first time I watched Chef, it was when I hadn't had breakfast or lunch, and I watched it like at 4 p.m. and I was craving food the entire time.
It's absolute food porn, yeah. The funny thing is, I haven't watched that movie since cleaning up, like since getting sober. It used to be a drunk movie. Like, it used to be a movie that I would put on late at night while I was like plastered because I'd already seen it, so I didn't need to pay that much attention and just look at the food be made and then have a snack myself and and then pass out. So I should go back to it with a clearer head and really, really engage with it. But it's, yeah, it's a great movie. It's a really great movie. It's a great script.
Yeah,
I dig it a lot.
And like, I wish that Jon Favreau would step out from like the Mando voice for a little bit and like do something like that, you know, like
just get off the volume, man. Get out there with a camera and shoot some shit. Like, his original pictures, like Made and what was the one that he did before that with Vince Vaughn? Oh, that's gonna annoy the shit out of me. You keep talking, I'm gonna look it up.
I'll put it up. We keep talking.
Yeah, like independent cinema and you know, just out there with a camera on his shoulder and making it happen. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm all for people advancing their careers and working in genre and doing big things they like. I mean, it must be a fucking dream for him to work on Star Wars, but sometimes you do wish that people would get back to their roots.
Well,
Swingers.
Was it Swingers? Was it Swingers or was it Made?
Swingers was first, and then they did Made, and that was like the two of them. And then he had a few other things. It would have been Zathura, and then he went on to. I mean, Zathura rules. We still haven't done our Zathura episode.
We haven't.
We're going to do one.
That's been carry over from season 1.
Yeah, exactly. That's all right. Once we finish up Pride Month or X-Men Month, we'll talk about that. Before we get into the X of it all, do you want to do some news?
I really do want to do nerd news because I have news this time.
Cool. You're going to run it because you said you've got 4 and I'm like, fuck it, I'll just let you do it. So here's the nerd news. Nerd news. Sorry. To replace that with Johnny's theme with an angry text message.
No, I love that.
Me and Johnny are going to be making some music videos together this year. Very excited.
Oh, that's cool. Also, this is Pride Month. I don't care. I just want to tell you, I have a crush on you. You're fucking beautiful.
I'm a total babe. Like, let's say. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I've got a crush on everybody, so I just big love. And you're only saying that because there's been some very, very good images of me put up online recently because they were taken by a professional photographer, and that's not what I look like in real life.
Well, I don't care. I see you like this, and I still love you.
Thank you. I'm wearing it's cold here. Got my hoodie on. I'm looking very elvish.
Yeah.
I look like what's her name? Orlando Bloom's next door neighbor who doesn't go on any adventures at all. He's just like, all right, mate, I'll see you when you get back from the adventure. Don't forget your bow and arrow and your horse. I'm gonna be here I'm gonna be reading Lord of the Rings era scripts. So it's Raiders of the Lost something. I don't know. What, I can't think of a joke. Help me. What's some Lord of the Rings stuff?
Raiders of the Lost Cave.
Raiders of the Lost Cave. That's a pornography picture, if it's anything, and it's an all but one. Anyway,
it is just rim jobs for 40 minutes.
Exactly. But I mean, to be fair, this is a good looking podcast. We are two total babes. News stories, things that have happened. Tell me about it.
Oh shit! So you have like nothing?
No, I've got like one or two. But,
okay, you go first.
Fuck, that's a really good picture. Sorry, I just went onto Instagram. There's a really good picture of Captain Planet. You don't see him modernized very much.
Captain.
Okay. So, I can't get him now. Here we go. Right. Oh, the Knives Out sequel, Wake Up Dead Men, is set for a 2025 release, and I only bring it up because I know you like those movies.
I like the announcement of it. Sure.
Daniel Craig to reprise his role as Detective Blanc, and it's got quite a good cast as well. I'm told. I don't have that listed with me right this second, but that's pretty cool. Also, in release news, Vision, the official series, is set for 2026 with Star Trek Picard showrunner coming on. Terry Matalis, I think it is the showrunner. Early version of this series was in development with WandaVision creator Jack Sheffer, but his attention has been turned away to its spin-off to Agatha All Along with Catherine Hahn, which is set to premiere in September. So yeah, we're going to see Vision in 2026. Pretty cool.
And I believe the director of most episodes of WandaVision, Matt Shackman, he's the guy doing Fantastic Four.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, I'm behind hopes for that then. He's a good pick actually, because that was interesting period elements to WandaVision. Absolutely. And
also, out of the blue, he's also an executive producer on the Monarch series.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That makes sense. As written by Matt Fraction, actually, who wrote he's written some great comic books. And one of the best things he wrote is the Hawkeye series, which the TV show was based on, where they introduced Kate Bishop. Did a great run on Iron Fist. Yeah, very very cool writer, Matt Fraction. Check him out. And finally, for me, Spider-Man 4 is rumored to be helmed by cancelled Batgirl movie director, I think, who directed Bad Boys for Life. They're rumored to be directing the fourth in the Tom Holland film. In a response during an interview, when asked about it, the director simply said, "I can't talk about it." So I don't know if that's clickbaity, but I dig those guys. They've got a really interesting vibe to them. Yeah, or I assume they identify as guys. They might identify as something else, but yeah, very very cool.
Yeah, I hope that of all the people, I hope they get it the most. Because there's a version of Spider-Man 4 where John Favreau comes back and is celebrated and then, gets to do a Spider-Man film. But that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're looking backwards anymore. Like, they've realised that that's a mistake. Having said that, though, I did see a news article that said like 60 cast members will be returning for the new Avengers picture, and it's going to include some of the OG, which is probably horseshit. But maybe they are looking to reinvigorate by injecting some old blood as opposed to all new blood. What were your news stories?
Okay, so I have like three, four that melt together as one, but I'm gonna still do it as individual ones.
Okay, no, well, it's good. We'll see the course of the story over time.
Right, because like the conclusion happened about 2 hours ago. So
right, okay.
So like early last week, we found out that the Legend of Vox Machina is gonna come. Well, this was like last month. That the Legend of Vox Machina season 3 would come out this fall. And it was a surprise because we did not know if season 3 was going to come out this year or next year. And especially with the writer's strike that happened, it affected like animated shows immensely. And Critical Role also released in the same article that the Mighty Nine series is almost towards production. So, I know you're lost. Vox Machina was the first.
No, I'm listening.
Vox Machina was their first campaign that got picked up by Amazon, and after season 1 did so well, they greenlit it for 2 and 3.
Right.
And while they were doing 2, their second campaign got picked up for first season.
Okay.
So they've been working like insanely hard. Plus, they're doing a third campaign right now that's going on.
Jesus, it must be all they do.
It kind of is, but it's also like their dream because, playing D&D on the internet and then making a show out of it is like kind of the dream.
Yep, hey man, it's good money if you can get it too.
But yeah, so what has happened now is the Vox Machina season 3 trailer came out 2 hours ago.
Ooh.
And it is insane. It is emotional, and I feel like I have my family back.
Oh, that's cute.
And it's also scary because this is the most that I've recognized of like the arc that is about to start.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't like I'll just say that it's emotional and it hits you when you least expect it. Like these are fucking furballs of idiots going around this world. And then, shit happens and like, oh no, this is real. These are real people, and the real people deal with shit differently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's true of anything.
Ryan Coogler is in talks for directing an X-Men film. Motherfucker, I called it!
Yeah, you did. You said that ages ago, man. You said that it was what would have been our Black Panther 2 episode.
Yeah.
You said it.
2 years ago.
I mean, what a great pick, really. And for no other reason that he's a fucking great director and he understands genre. Yeah, get him in. 110%.
Also, I want to test this theory out to you. So he's like Ryan Coogler is doing a Dracula film with Michael B. Jordan.
He's doing a vampire film. I don't know if it's an actual Dracula film, is it?
A vampire film. Not Dracula.
They're not all Dracula. Not all vampires are Dracula, you fucking racist.
Dracula is hot. The fuck do you want me to say?
He's what, sorry?
Dracula is hot. The fuck do you want me to say?
Some Draculas are hot. Some Draculas are not hot.
Hey man, have you seen the Castlevania Dracula?
The cartoon?
Yeah.
The drawing? Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. Do you know who?
When I think Dracula, I think Gary Oldman, and Gary Oldman was pretty hot in some of that picture. So, but yeah, not all vampires are Draculas. All right, Jesus, it's Pride Month. Come on.
Let
Vampire
people
and proud.
be vampires. No.
Let people be vampires, for God's sake, if they want to be. Actually, no, that's not a good thing. Like, people shouldn't go around like non-consensually drinking other people's blood. That's fucked up.
Yeah, that's
what a detraction.
That's in the same.
What were you gonna say?
No, I'm taking this. That's in the same kind of people who say that cannibalism is not illegal; it's just unethical.
No, it is straight up illegal. Everybody, I'm sorry. That is just It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
I saw someone say that it's unethical, but people do unethical things all the time. I'm like, that's a weird twist on the magneto-terrorism line. Let's not do that.
It is a little bit, yeah, and it's also incredibly misinformed. So all of you happy cannibals out there, all you fine young cannibals, that's a joke for some older people, get with it. Anyway, sorry. So Coogler and Michael B. Jordan are making not a vampire picture, not a Dracula picture.
Yep.
And
do you think that was a rejected Blade script that he was like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna make it"?
Maybe. It depends. I don't know.
Because he was like,
geez, if someone can get Blade off the ground, heavens to Betsy.
Because he was attached to it, and the guy, Boyd DeMayo, who was the showrunner for X-Men '97, did a script for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that team got shifted around, and this is that script somehow. Pretty cool.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, whatever it is, I'm keen. I love Ryan. I think he's got a wonderful eye. He's two of them, probably.
So with you, man, we don't know.
Yeah, he might have the third eye.
But it's not on the forehead. Like it's on the belly button. It's just up to like that.
That's fucking weird. What are you, fucking David Cronenberg? That's very strange. All these chest vaginas.
What?
You've got to see Videodrome to understand what that joke. James Woods.
So next one is the X-Men film actually has a writer now, and the writer is the guy who did that's like Game of Thrones. That's the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is a Hunger Games prequel that happened last year.
It is. Yeah. Cool. Hey man, as long as it's all moving forward, that's fantastic.
That's what that matters. It's excellent. Yeah. It's not fantastic. Wrong franchise.
It is excellent with no E. Yep.
Yeah. All right. This one is a little personal for both of us.
Okay.
But so Tom Taylor, amazing writer.
Mm-hmm.
The Nightwing run that he's doing is in its last arc.
Yeah. Not Grace and Fall, or I can't remember what it's called. I'm waiting until it's finished to pick them all up. I don't want to do them by month, so I'm waiting the 5 months until it's all round up. But I mean, he's gone on to bigger and better things, and honestly, I feel like we've talked about it before. I feel like his attentions have been so divided. Some of the work's suffering. Like it kind of just seems like he's spinning a lot of plates all at once. You know what I mean? It'd be good if you can just focus on, one thing in particular.
But yeah, I saw the cover of the first issue, like the first of 5, and it was him with the beard. I'm like, oh fuck, man.
Oh no!
Like
it's him and Bitewing walking in the snow. I'm excited. Like that was a great run. That's the best run on Nightwing that's happened since Chuck Dixon was writing it in the 90s. Honestly, I really dig it.
And Tom Taylor gave us the Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne relationship. It's so beautiful.
Mm.
And I know it's not the same Nightwing, but I think this is the comic run that gave DC the confidence to make Nightwing their face now, with Dawn of DC.
He's kind of the flagship character for a lot of what's going on. I know that the Dawn of DC relaunch didn't do very well, but the some of the decisions they made to invest in some of these more youthful characters that have a little bit more range, if nothing else, was a really good idea.
So yeah, I'm really excited to see how that goes.
How they tie it up, and then what he leaves for whoever's next, I guess. Very cool.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to think about that at all.
We'll leave it. Before we get into the main topic. Oh, you got one more?
Yeah. So my parents returned in uniform in Arcane Season 2.
Yes, you sent with a picture. It was erection-y. And yeah, so when's Arcane Season 2 coming out?
That's November.
That's all right. It'll be here before you think. November, just November.
No, but they tease my parents, and like, there's no trailer at all. Like, come on.
Well, that'll be soon too. Like, you know, they take their time with these things, and that's a good thing. You know, at least it didn't get lost in the Netflix's huge animation cull.
Oh, they can't, because Arcane made a lot of money from them.
It did. It's like one of the most well talked about shows ever, if nothing else. Like, I don't know what it did profit wise, but it's very popular, especially among animators. Like, all the animators I know really love it. So that's bona fides, definitely. Right on. That was the nerd news. Let's talk about what we're here to talk about. You can probably hear my fiance banging around in the kitchen. It's X-Men. It's X-Men 97. It's a direct sequel to the original X-Men series from the 90s, and we love it. And before we go any further, just want to say something real quickly about why we're doing this in Pride Month. You know, you've got all the controversy around Morph being non-binary and they, them, and just X-Men in general. Like, if you don't get that, you don't understand what the X-Men sort of stands for. And maybe it's not for you. And maybe this podcast isn't for you either. So maybe there's no point in you listening to it. But these newer creators and stuff, like, yeah, I understand that wokeness is a problem and it can be weaponized, particularly by people who aren't represented in the community of people, you know, that we're talking about here, the LGBTQIA plus community. A lot of people take on causes that are not their own because they feel like it makes them more modern or whatever, or they're signifying, or, you know, whatever the fuck it is, you know, virtue signaling. And that's a real problem, and it can seep into the work and become, you know, about signifying and not about just representing people who've been underrepresented. Shows like X-Men 97 that get it right in a subtle way and are just, you know, saying these people are included in what we're doing, are elevated by their modern understandings of diversity. And if you're not on board with that, then I think, yeah, you're missing the point. So that's all I'll say about that. And let's enjoy talking about a really fucking great show by first saying, trust happens when actions meet words. Amazing. Just, it's so current and yet set in 97. It's amazing. How do you feel about the whole, we'll go through bits and pieces, but, you know, we won't go through episode by episode, but if you want to hear that, go on to the End of the Line podcast that we're on. But how do you feel about it?
I haven't been the same since the show dropped. And I feel like, I told you this, and I feel like it is true every moment that passes by now, that the X-Men, I don't know if this is true for anybody else, but it is for me, so I'm going to say it, that the X-Men came back when I needed them the most, and they took my hand and said that it's going to be okay, and we're here. And it's just, like, seeing all the insanely misinformed discourse about the X-Men, you know, and, you know, in the weeks leading up to it, and, like, you know, people recommending what comics they might adapt. They adapted the Primate Flesh thing, which is huge, but then it was also 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I love that. I love this show. I love that from this show came out a community that I can be a part of and say, you know, we're X-Men fans. And, you know, I have people who came in and they hadn't watched the show, like the Orson show, and came in and became huge X-Men fans. And, you know, that's the power of it. It doesn't matter where you can jump in. It's that whenever you jump in, you know that these people are real, and, you know, these struggles are real.
In a way that the comics aren't, this show is really, it can be your first sort of foray into the X-Men. The comics are kind of impenetrable at this point in a lot of ways, unless you sort of go back and read older stuff or contained runs, because there's just so much has happened, over the last fucking 60 years or whatever. But yeah, they are pulling from Claremont and Burns' run, a lot of that. That's why they got the dope-ass costumes in the last episode. Wolverine's wearing the brown, so cool. And Cyclops has got the full hood. I dig that a lot. But also, the destruction of Genosha was from Grant Morrison's run in the 2000s, and you got the parts of Dark Phoenix kind of popping up, and Madeline Pryor, and who in the comics was not a clone of Jean at first. She was just a lookalike who Scott started dating, and everyone thought it was fucking weird. She's in the Logan miniseries, and then all of a sudden they're like, we want Jean to come back, and he's like, whatever, she's a clone. Like, Claremont was kind of a bit fancy and loose with the continuity. But I think that struck me the most was it's so cinematic. Like, it's very anime inspired. The art, the animation is so clean. They track camera movements in shots, so like there's pans and tilts and stuff like that just in statics, and the action, like in particular, I noticed it during the Coney Island sequence, where the big Ferris wheel is falling and Magneto comes and saves it, and everyone's like, was that motherfucking Osama bin Laden? Like that, you know what I mean? He's like, he's a terrorist, and all of a sudden he's saving the day. But the animation there is really slick, and just no skipped frames, just really clean, and but still has kind of the feel that the 90s one had, like the blockiness and the character design and shit. Yeah, it's really, really cool.
Yeah. Let's get into it, right?
Let's get into it. First thing we got to get into, I reckon, is the fucking plane sequence in the first episode.
Oh my god.
That shit is badass. And I'll say, when I've watched these movies with my fiance, and they're her favorite, superhero films is the X-Men movies, and she likes all of them. And I asked her why. She's like, because I just think they're really interesting the way they use their powers. Like, it's unique. Like, everyone has a unique ability. And then when they work in concert, like, another good example is when Gyrick ends up being one of the Prime Sentinels, and that building falls down. And just after Rogue's dropped him, which is fucking cool too.
That's Trask, not Gyrick.
Trask, sorry, yeah. And they're all falling out of a building, and Cyclops is like, you get the building, I'll get the debris. And so they work as a unit, and when the plane blows up, all of the flyers immediately know to go and get the non-flyers. And Cyclops is like, I'll see you on the ground, and fucking uses his optic beam to lower his descent. Like, Cyclops is a badass now. An absolute pimp. That was my huge takeaway from the first couple episodes anyway.
Yeah, no, the thing is that, because like the show was coming out, I started getting back into X-Men comics. Cyclops has always been a badass, but he was always the Wolverine and Friends show in the movies. So it's a refreshment to see him actually be adapted faithfully.
Wolverine almost takes a bit of a backseat in this series. He's not even in. Like, he gets his fucking adamantium ripped out in episode 9, and then episode 10 he's comatose. Like, he's completely out of it. Nothing happened. To sideline your A-list character is a pretty ballsy move, honestly. And I appreciated it. I think probably the thing that gets me most is how it is hitting on social issues like really hard, but while containing them in a story. Like, the trial of Magneto is interesting in the way that he, especially at the end where he's like, don't make me let you down. Like, he's actually trying to do better, but the Executioner and the Friends of Humanity attacking, and like the Executioner saying to Scott, he's like, you guys just whinge about everything all the time. We have problems too. We just don't whine about it. Like, that's an argument that a person makes to somebody who has, suffered prejudices because of their sexual orientation or their gender or whatever. And that it's also, they call it an insurrection in the following episode. It's exactly what happened on Jan 6. Like, they're not making it like a huge thing, but they have to say this stuff because it's what the X-Men does. Like that's how it works in metaphor, and why why it's endured. Like Superman endured because he's an icon. Batman endures because everybody fucking wants to be Batman. The X-Men endure because no matter where you are in time or space and who you represent yourself as and how you want to live your life, you can see yourself in these people, you know? I know what it's like to be, you know, a normal man 1 second and a rage of emotions the next. That's why I like Hulk so much, you know? Or Beast. Beast is a great example. Like somebody who is an intellect and is a scholar and someone who is well spoken and informed, but also he's also an animal, like we all are, you know. Or Rogue, like not being able to touch people. That's about intimacy. That's about being frightened of, you know, getting close to somebody. Talk about touch and taking their powers, but actually feeling emotion from another person, whether that involves physical intimacy or not. There's so many people who are guarded, especially these days, you know. So yeah, I think the social issues are really, really the key to why this works and why it resonates so much with so many people, and especially the people who grew up with it, who now can understand why they felt that way, as opposed to, because back then we didn't have language for it the way that we do now. You wouldn't have a character who was represented as they, them back in those times, but they made the conscious effort to do that in a show set in 1997 because they understand that the people who watched that back in the day are now grown up and have an understanding that that's okay to be whatever that is. And also that particular scene, the insurrection scene where Magneto, you know, takes them up, you know, fucking sycophant, bigot, worm, that kind of thing. The executioner, you know, comes in and attacks, and Morph kicks his ass as first Deathstrike, then Cyclops, then Psylocke. And I'm like, this is the most baller shit. Like, canonically, I don't think Morph has been able to, like, have the powers of the mutants that he changes into, but that's a really cool change. Like, I think that's really, really dope. Anyway, that was my little rant about why I like it so much. Insurrection. Crazy.
Yeah, episode 2 has a huge place in my heart because we had the movies, and I don't know how much of it is in the comics, but just hearing Magneto say bigot, like, validated the fucking core out of me, man. Like, this is exactly what it is. That scene of him telling that board of fucking directors that this is what you are, this is what we've done, and do not make me let you down, is what the X-Men are. Yeah. It's like...
And he's a great character, like, in terms of the arc that he gets. Is really great, because he goes back to where he started, you know, as a villain. Yeah, and I'm just going to drop in quotes every now and again. Tragedy lures with fortune first.
Yep, which is the foreshadowing for Genosha.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it is. And, you know, Genosha, the like... Yeah, we'll get to it. Fucking hell. A lot of people getting cloned in the Marvel Universe. A little bit fucking clone happy, if you don't mind me saying. Fucking everybody's got to... I've got a clone in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, crying out loud. Just ridiculous. Yeah, Beast rules. Like, he's my favorite. We've talked about this before. You know, the monster with a heart of gold. You know, that intelligence and then the feral animal nature. It's the perfect distillation of the metaphor, the battle within, and the acceptance of all parts of yourself, despite what people might see in you at face value. That's really critical. And I think Madeline going full S&M straight away is really exciting to me.
I don't know.
She's like, I'm the fucking Goblin Queen. Check out my fucking arseless chaps, bitch.
Hey, I don't know how many people listen to the show follow me, but Madeline Pryor has been my profile picture for a long time now.
Yes, yeah, it's a dope picture. And the scenes, particularly the episode in which Sinister sort of takes her over, and she then... It's like a haunted house kind of movie, you know, with that going on. The animation is so great, and that's where it reminds me of manga the most, like of fucking... Rogue and Magneto kind of like oozing into each other, and then the weird shadows and shapes and all that stuff. Like, it's just, yeah, it's so well realized. The other thing that's well realized is Eric and Rogue training in the danger room all the time.
Very much. He is very much.
They're getting down to some fucking, like, let's be real. It's made pretty clear. You know, she doesn't explain why, but it's made pretty clear that they can touch each other early on in the piece.
Or maybe they're just
age gap lovers.
Maybe they're just in there having a banana.
They Can someone out there please draw that? Can someone out there please draw Magneto and Rogue in the danger room, completely naked, both eating a banana? Not in a sexual way, just sitting there talking with two bananas, completely out of their skins as well, just eating it like a pelican. That'd be great.
Eating like a pelican.
That's how you're supposed to do it. Yeah, episode 3 is definitely the haunted house part of it. I love Morph and Wolverine's relationship. We talked about it on the End of the Line podcast with those guys about how they've probably hooked up. Like, Morph is non-binary. He might be pansexual, might be bisexual. It's not really stated, but whatever. Wolverine is over 100 years old. Like, he's tried everything, and even if they're not, they're still, like, the great scene where Wolverine's upset and Morph comes along with chips and beer, and he doesn't want to play, so Morph throws a bag of chips at him and then morphs into Sabretooth, and they have a play fight. Like, it's such a beautiful friendship. And then, you know, correlating at the end where Morph turns into they turn into Jean and tell Wolverine that they love him. I mean, if you're not moved by this stuff, these are drawings. These are drawings. And if you're not moved by it, I don't know what to do with you, you know? It's also, the Haunted House episode is also the one where Beast opens the door and there's a monster there and he goes, I think one of us has the wrong floor.
I think Beast is the only one that suffers the most this season by not having him, like, in much of anything.
But I think he's really critical, especially like the scenes with Trish Tilby, the broadcaster and stuff, and then her feelings, like when he's saying to her, like, sorry, I don't remember the actual quote, but where he's like, oh, you know, sorry for the inconvenience of your tolerance of my race, you know, of my people. He's the heart of the whole thing, you know. He's the heart and soul of the whole team, really. He's also very cool, like, when he fights, like, let me give you a hand, and, you know, he gets into the Sentinel and rides it and slaps the thing. And that's another thing, like, the way that they use their powers, like Cyclops charging up Bishop, or Gambit charging Wolverine's claws and then him decapitating Master Mold. Like, that is some of the most baller shits I've ever seen. In it, like, I said it to you once we finished watching it. I think it was just a message or whatever. I was like, this is the best X-Men there's ever been. Like, I love the movies, don't get me wrong, but this is like, encapsulates them as a character set in the most perfect way. Like, it's got all of the soap opera drama that you want, while still having motherfuckers cut Sentinels' heads off.
Oh yeah, and this is X-Men. Like, it feels weird seeing that after 20 years of movies, but, like, they got it right, because this is the X-Men.
It is. It takes everything that it needs to from the cartoon, everything it needs to from our modern understanding of X-Men and the movies, or takes everything from what we know of the movies, and then some anime, and then, you know, some long form storytelling soap opera stuff, like the way that they do now, where you can have like episodes. There was a few episodes here, like, that drew on what was happening, you know, with Sunspot coming into it, and the Mojo episode and all that were kind of self-contained, but as an arc, it's all there. And then Bastion comes in the last couple of fucking episodes. What a great villain as well. And it's got a real continuity. Like, that's a modern way of storytelling, that long form TV storytelling. They didn't do that in the cartoon series. There was long arcs, but there wasn't, like, series long arcs, you know what I'm saying?
And I want to go back and just say that Madeline Pryor is on screen for about 2 minutes. That's how big of an impact that character has, because she's just on there for, like, shy of 2 minutes.
Yeah, and her relationship with Scott and their psychic affair that they're having, but they're bonded by having cable. Like, this is the only time that adding a baby to a TV show has ever fucking works, because they grow up to be cable. Because
if your baby
and then
doesn't grow up to be cable, don't have it.
Yeah, if you're not going to have a cable baby, don't worry about it. But also, like their conversation they have at the end, where he's like, I should have been there. Like, I heard all the stories about you, all your adventures, and I was jealous. I wanted to be there, like, fighting beside you, you know, and the stories of my parents were greatly underestimated. And then he's like, it's time to go, Gene, after she psychically holds back his powers so he can look his son in the eye. Like, come on with the emotion. Yeah, so powerful. Like, I found myself tearing up in a lot of places. I'm a softie, but it was you know,
yeah,
it was pretty great.
And like when she rises up with the Phoenix in like the final episode, he calls her mom too, and it just he calls her mom. I was like, oh fuck me.
Yeah. Or the scene where Madeline, he comes in and he's trying to stop Genosha from happening, but it's like a time paradox where it's going to happen that way no matter what. And he gets drawn back and she's like, my God, your eyes, Nathan. And he's like, I'm sorry, Mum, and then gets dragged back. Just like incredibly powerful. And Sinister, I think, you know, as a B villain, or what we understand as a B villain by the time we get to the end of it, you know, the second tier villain, I think it proves that he needs to be in the MCU in some fashion, because he's legitimately threatening. He is a self-made mutant who has stitched together other parts of mutants to give himself power. Like, what a great metaphor for people taking on other people's, it's like we were saying before, taking on other people's causes, or you know, being like, it's okay to be an ally and a voice for change, and you know, partner yourselves with these people who have struggles, but don't ever pretend like, and if you're not doing it altruistically, like if you're not doing it in a way that is, you know, completely without
selfish reasons.
Yeah, well, just more completely without aplomb, or like, completely without applause. You know, like, you do things to help people and then not signify that you're doing it. If you are signifying, don't pretend it's about anything other than that, because it seldom isn't. And that's what Sinister's doing. He's taking these powers off of these people and using them for his own, to build himself up. Fucking any Instagram influencer ever does that all the fucking time. No, I'm serious, man. Any fucking normal straight-laced, I don't mean like as in straight sexually. I just mean just a normal influencer person who might go online and start hawking something, or start supporting a cause, or going to a rally or whatever, and then blogging about it. Like, I know that's kind of their job, but I've said it before, I'll say it again. There's something about shutting the fuck up and just do the work if that's what you want to do. Sorry, that was a bit of a detraction. I'm just a bit grouchy. I had a shitty shoot this week with an influencer, and I was like, I don't want to do this no more. This is not who I am. I don't want to work with those kind of people.
Then again, that's what the X-Men are, right? It is the Yes.
No, they're not. I'm not saying all of them are bad either. Like, you know, just catch all. We're on Instagram here. Like, that's not what I think of all of them. I've had some experiences with them in the recent past where I was like, I'm not on board with some of their marketing of themselves. I'm sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, I was saying, but that's what the X-Men are. Like, they are the mirror. It's not like a glorified version of this world. It is this world with just mutants.
Yeah, it is. And also to have some of those mutants, you know, also have the problems in relationships and in their sexual lives and in their, you know, the way that they relate to each other be the same as it is, you know, the way that we do it, but also that they can fucking turn people to ice is really cool. Just another one of my favorite lines from the Motendo episode. I don't speak justifiably angry Portuguese. It's when he's mad at him. Oh my goodness. It's amazing. Forge, who I think is a really interesting character, the idea of him creating the dampening collars is cold-blooded and a fucking great story element. Just really just adds to what's going on with him and why he's fighting so hard at the end to find them, when Bishop's like, we got to go to the past to find him. He's like, I've been looking and whatever. Really cool character.
Yeah, let's get into the Gambit overall then.
Yeah, remember it. Not only is the Genosha episode so fantastic in that it introduces Kurt, but it also introduces the particularities of Rogue and Magneto's relationship, and then her choosing Gambit, and then the attack from the Sentinels and the motorbike chase and Rogue flying next to him. Like, some of the best animated shit I've ever seen, and I've been alive for 42 years. I love it so much. But Gambit sacrificing himself and charging that bike up and knocking Rogue out of the way, and then getting shish kebabbed, and then smiling, and the cards are always in my favor, and charging up the entire thing, using his powers to charge up the entire master mold and blowing it up. Just like such a great way to do it. And also, it's kind of everybody loves Gambit, but no one saw that coming. There's no way you could have seen that coming. Not only did you not see coming that they would kill anybody, but they would kill Gambit. Like, when I was in school and you watched the X-Men, it was Wolverine or Gambit, and that's who you were into, if you're a boy at least. And I think it wouldn't, if it was just another character, if it was Beast or whatever, there'd be sadness. But the reason that this works is because Rogue chose him and then lost him. That episode ending on a cut to black of her cradling him and holding his face, and then a cut to black with "I can't feel you," is one of the most tragic deaths on screen ever. Like, it's seriously, it's up there with Yoda and shit. Like, it is really just absolutely heartbreaking. Or fucking Gwen Stacy, like, yeah, I know that it affected you a lot. I know it affected Kike because he's like, that's my boy. Like, he fucking loves Gambit. But when I hadn't watched the show yet, and you guys were chatting back and forth in our podcast chat, you're like, fucking get ready. And I was like, whatever, it's a cartoon. I wasn't ready.
That's how you should be, right? Because, like, in the intro of the show, you see Nightcrawler, like, oh man, it would be cool if he shows up. And then he does show up, and, the entire episode is Genosha becoming a UN nation, and, this future, and the potential to prosper and to finally be real. And it's gone.
Yeah. And I mean, that's it for all of Genosha. Like, that is the hope, the present paradise that is taken away, which is it's remarkably brave storytelling. Like, I know they just sort of swung with the fences and like, we might not get another one. We might not get an X-Men 98. So let's just do it. Let's just fucking whole hog. And enormous amount of respect for the writers. I know that there's some stuff going on with the head writer who got fired before the show came out, and I have no information about why that happened at all. If you do, and it made you decide to watch it or not watch it or whatever, like, that's fine, but that's not, like, that has no bearing on what we're talking about here. But I do understand that there was something that was untoward. Just quickly, Kurt is the soul of the X-Men, and he is 100% pure, and his scene with where Wolverine's like, I've got 6 reasons, bub, and then he comes and he goes 9, and he has the sword and he's using his tail and bamfing like and then he grabs Wolverine and pulls him through the bamf, and you see what Kurt sees, like, fuck. And then his eulogy, like, he fast becoming, I like the blue ones. I'm the blue ones, me. Call me a racist if you want to, or call me a not racist, I don't care. I know Kurt's your favourite.
Kurt is. Although I'm wearing a Rogue shirt, Kurt's my favourite.
It's so funny too, because, like, he's... Sorry, I just did my cats go crazy. Is everybody alright? Having an argument. The cats, I mean. he's like a religious figure. You know, he's almost doing the last rites at the end of it to Wolverine. You know, but it's never like his eulogy of Gambit, where he could never see his own potential, even though he had so much. I mean, that's what Gambit does. He charges things with potential, and then they explode. Like, and that's what he does to the people around him. Rogue was wrong. Like, you light up everything but me. Of course he lights you up. He just doesn't have to touch you to do it. That's how powerful you two are together. He doesn't need his powers to do that. But yeah, Kurt is such a pure character. I adore him. In that particular episode, there's a great shot where the Genosha episode where they're asking Magneto to lead them, and it's a shot of Magneto in the background is soft focus, and in front focus there is a glass of whiskey, and you see the ice crack in it. Like, that is so fucking cinematic. You know, there's no reason to animate that unless you're talking about, you know, like framing and interesting compositions and you know how you like balance a frame and all that stuff. Like, that's what I dug about this show a lot. I was never visually, I just couldn't. I'm glad I got to watch it a second time because I got to appreciate that more because I was so focused on the story the first time. Excuse me. Oh, also, did you notice in the sky over Genosha, just as the party's starting, the Watcher?
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So I watched that episode. It was that after that episode, the message was like, I know that you're taking your time, like watching the first show. Get on it, man, please. Because, like, I saw the Watcher and I was like, okay. Because, you know, the Watcher only watches the good parts that are good for him, but not good for anyone who's in them.
Yeah. Well, that's he likes good TV as well, I guess.
Yeah, and it's just like Genosha is Charles Xavier's dream materialized, and its destruction is Charles Xavier's dream dying.
Yeah, and you said it, the actual statue of him falling on the Morlocks, and they're literally being crushed by his dream, by the weight of his dream, and also his hubris to leave and stay gone. Like, I know he's having, you know, fuck city with Lilandra. Come on, there's a line where she's like, you know, he said something about being a dog, and that sounds good. She's like, you can bark later. I'm like, they're doing some weird stuff, and God bless them. You know, that's pretty awesome. But yeah, it is him coming back is like, I was mad at him too. Like, where Rogue sort of, you know, sides with Magneto after he raises Asteroid M, and she's like, who's next? You know, first it was Gambit, was it Jean next? You know, like, you're wrong. Your plan is wrong. This doesn't work. I love it. And I also love the woman who goes up to Magneto in Genosha and says, you know, why would a nation allow a terrorist to be their leader? And he goes, and yet so many allow their leaders to be terrorists. Magneto has some fucking dunks in this show, man. Some slam dunks of, like, putting motherfuckers in. And then he uses a train to whip Mastermind in the face. A whole full train. I didn't even know they had trains in Genosha. Amazing.
Yeah, this, like, the Genosha episode is a feat that I don't think the MCU has ever touched, and I say this with all sincerity. Like, the X-Men, like, sure, Fantastic Four is cool and all, but the X-Men are the family, right? And, like, especially like the Genosha episode, you feel like you feel it more than any other one, by like animation is not a genre, it's a medium. And like, this is like, these are my X-Men. Like, this is how I see my X-Men now.
Yeah. I mean, for as long as we've been talking about the X-Men, I've said to you many times, whenever I read an X-Men comic, these are the voices I hear from the OG series. I don't hear the movie voices. You know, it's like, it's so ingrained. Yeah, I mean, we didn't talk about Storm. like taking a shot for Magneto and then losing her powers and then going on a fucking vision quest and getting them back and coming back as one of the most badass motherfuckers ever. Like long hair, the 80s costume, and the Omega level threat, like, you know, given the forecast. Just fucking forget about it. Like, Storm's a great character, but she was always kind of like a bit of a goof. Like, you know, my storm of rage in the thing and the thing. She's really hyperbolic, but it worked in this. I don't know why. It worked for me.
Like, the thing is, you know, you have that insane landing sequence, and they go and fight the Sentinel. The Storm isn't...
While we're here, fuck Sentinels. Any Sentinels listening, you can get fucked.
Yeah. Like, take your own finger and finger your own hole, whichever one you want.
Whichever hole you want. Whichever Sentinel hole you can fit it in, fucking finger bang that shit. What are we talking about? Sentinels can't finger bang.
We don't know that.
Funga bung? Oh, goodness.
Storm.
We don't know that. Yeah, Storm. And her relationship with Forge and him going full Doctor Strange to get rid of the fucking the nemesis, not the nemesis, the adversary. Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, I like that whole. I've seen the interview with the
vampire.
Sorry.
The interview with
the writer of the episode, and they said that like the story that we tell with Storm is a story of depression and the story of depression and like reclaiming yourself back from that darkness.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely
that's so fucking true, especially when like part 1 ends with her like being all like encaged by that fucking bird thing. And like, you know, she has to literally crawl into a dark space and you know get the flower to fix Forge. And like, it's like these things are real, and like you don't come out and say that it's about depression, but it's all clear that like this is what it is.
Yeah.
And her like getting her powers back and like, you know, like feeling the wind and like taking off into the atmosphere, like she's a goddess.
Yeah, literally. And that reminded me of the best sequence in Man of Steel where he learns how to fly. Just the joy and the hopefulness. And it was so well animated. And yeah, you're right. Like it's not just a metaphor for race or sexual orientation or, you know, sex or whatever, you know, it is, like that it speaks so clearly to the times that we're living in now. It can be about mental illness, or it can be about the search for self, or it can be about grief. And it does it all through the prism of these grand events, these huge powers that go on, and you feel it. It's actually brought me back to a love of X-Men. I'm picking up more comics, you know, from old times. And because, again, the soap opera thing wore thin on me. I was like, fuck, would they just get along for 5 minutes? But, you know, it makes sense that this is where we're at. Yeah, I and particularly for grief, like in the Genosha sort of fight of the whole thing, you know, it's more the aftermath, like that following episode, Bright Eyes, where Rogue takes her revenge, and now I want her movie. One of the mutant people who are like sifting through the rubble, which is very 9/11-y imagery kind of thing, says a survivor is the last thing I'd want to be, because she's seeing these people be pulled out, and it's the cost of intolerance, and the cost of division, and like we're all here, you know, we're all trying to figure it out, and that's, and they, as threatening as mutants are, and as many evil versions of them that there are, when you look at it, they're never antagonistic in the way that people assume they are. Leech is a great example. He's like, I'm just Leech, just leave me the fuck alone, and Eric has that great line to him, like, "Don't be afraid." He says in German just before he's killed, and he has the flash of the Holocaust just before he attacks Mastermind and stuff like that. That grief, and I think Rogue's sort of want for vengeance is so great, so much so that she does drop Trask, and that she does fucking completely school Captain America, America's top cop, she calls him, and then fucking pitches his shield into a mountain. Oh, suck a dick, you blue head, fucking wow! Oh, love it. Fucking big Boy Scout. Oh, I pissed my fucking pants when that happened. It's like, yeah, it really takes its time to show the horror of genocide without dumbing it down. I mean, they're not showing, like, there's a bit more blood in this show than you normally get. Like, there's when Wolverine gets Magneto and you see the blood in the claws, or Gambit, the thing in his side. It's a little bit more adult in that respect, but just understanding how many lives were lost, it's really, really critical.
Yeah, and losing Gambit made it all very, very real. Like, to a point where I was worried about Nightcrawler not making it, because my motherfucker can only teleport and has cool swords. Like, if you're a teleporter or a speedster, you cannot take fucking Magneto. You just can't.
No. I mean, Wolverine couldn't even do it. Like, it's and he's the baddest motherfucker ever did live. It's yeah, and I think that turn, once Rogue drops Trask off the building and the Prime Sentinels turn up and we realize what the push of it is, and you get Bastion's backstory about how he was infected by Nimrod because his dad was a janitor who got infected, and it's like he's the next evolution, and he's basically he is Magneto without the conscience. Like, Magneto still is a human being, but Bastion's just like, no, we're the next thing, and you guys are outmoded and you're in the way, if nothing else. That is such a clear directive for a villain. He's not muddled at all. The only reason he's muddled is because he's involved with his mum and shit. Like, where he says, "Are you trying to appeal to my humanity? Like, you fucking idiot. Do you even know what we're doing? Like, I'm ready to just wipe out every single one of you." Yeah, like, legitimately threatening.
But then again, Bastion, if he had the family, if he had been part of the X-Men, would not been this, because he is a mutant.
Yeah.
And all this time, he longed for people to understand him, to a point where he became the futurist who always thought that the past was better.
That's so funny. That's exactly the word I used to describe him as well. He's hang on, let me just find it in my notes. Wait 1 second. Fuck my hole. I literally wrote it down. Mind fight. These are funny notes, Reegs. Hang on. Wait. The blind purple people eater motif is fucking chilling. It's almost as bad as Stuck in the Middle with You, and where the guy gets his ear cut off in Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, here we go. Act today to save tomorrow is what he says. Humans are being left behind. Bastion is a bigot masquerading as a futurist. It's literally the same line that I wrote. And how he pulls off Cable's arm and says, "How does it feel to be abandoned by the future?" Fuck. That shit's is cold-blooded.
I was watching a reaction of people for the first time watching episode 5, and at the end of it, if these characters mean something to you, you cry, and if they started to mean something to you, you're stunned. But the one thing that everybody can agree on is that I felt this way too, and I kind of wished that Magneto was dead, because there's no way Magneto comes out of the rubble still believing in Charles at all.
No, or what he started to believe in himself. Like, he gained so much in that moment. He gained Genosha. He's gained the X-Men. He gained Rogue, and then she tells him, Gambit's right. Like, it's not about what you can feel. It's about how what's inside. And then he loses everything in an instant. that gets everything taken away, and that's why he flashes back to the Holocaust, like the time where he last lost everything, and no wonder like he reacts the way that he does when he's finally able to fight back. The idea of human beings being weaponized is terrifying. It's like the actual anti-life equation that they use in DC. Like the original version of that is willingly submit to slavery. That's kind of what this is, except they don't do it willingly. But that idea is terrifying, that we could be reprogrammed to become a threat to everybody. What a great fucking thing for a villain to do, to be like, your human beings are getting left behind, so I'm going to turn them all into superior beings so that they can fight my war for me without asking them first. You'd better have plenty of fucking people, chime in, I'd say, but
yeah. And also, it also says that, like for the most part, Friends of Humanity is a crowd outside the Xavier Mansion just shouting.
Yeah.
And then you see some of them turn into these Sentinels, and you're like, you have to take some of this shit seriously, because they're the one out there fucking spewing this shit, and then one of them gets weaponized, and it's a whole new game.
Yeah.
And they have the power to kill people who actually matter, irrespective of what they're saying or not.
Exactly, yeah. And humans too, like nobody's safe. I think the one of the moments that said to me, this is the high bar to clear for whatever the fuck the MCU decides to do with the X-Men or the mutants in general, is where they're driving away in the Porsche after coming out of the Blackbird. And Jean says, this is the third Blackbird this month. Beast is going to be really mad. And then so him and Cable and Jean come down and he's like, you've got a Porsche? He's like, yeah. And then let's, what did he say? Don't mess with the Summers. And then they've got the chase, and like Cable's just like putting holes in these dudes, and Cyclops is like, building a tunnel through the mountain, and Jean's like flinging dudes. And I was like, wow, if they even get close to this level of cool,
we won.
We're going to be all right. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just like the Cable thing is, like, I did not expect that to like make me so emotional. And like, like Scott leaves Madeline and he leaves Madeline and Cable and like, or to Nathan, and he's like, I can't abandon, like I can't do the thing that my dad did, yet while doing the thing that his dad does. But then it comes back around in the last episode, and like, he knows he probably is not going to make it, and he says goodbye, and that's why he never called with his dad. So like he pulls off his visor and is crying and is like full fucking plus. Like, these are real people. They're also drawings.
Yeah. There's but I mean they live beyond the page or the panel as well. Like, these things, they take on important meaning to people and can help them discover themselves as well. Like, it's not an accident that these characters have been endured for so long. One of my favorite lines was the towards the end when the senator is, with Bastion talking about what happened in Genosha and all that stuff, and she says Magneto was right. We should get t-shirts of that. We should have fucking Magneto was right t-shirts. I know it'd be fucked up, but it's kind of true. The new Thanos is right is been taken over.
Well, Thanos was never right, but Magneto has always been right.
Yeah.
Also, like, I mean, the quick change,
non-violent, but fuck.
Yeah. Like the quick change of well, yeah, he was. There's no proof that Charles Xavier was right, and there's century worth of proof that Magneto was right.
He just knows that it's always going to come back. You know, it's like that great scene at the beginning of the last episode where they're in the bar and they admit to each other that they're mutants. And he talks about human beings fighting with each other. They fight over everything. They even fight over who's the best victim. And that's so fucking true, you know? Like, to hear a character like that with the lineage that he has say that out loud is really testing. Like, I don't think people have really got it all yet. I think there's going to be a lot of evaluations of this show in the years to come where people are going to be like, oh, hang on, I've missed some stuff about... Paul. Sorry, my cat's meowing. Could you hear him meowing at the door? He's so loud, but it's such a wimpy... He's a really big cat. Like, he's a huge, big, furry cat. But when he meows, it's like... Meow! Like, it's a real wussy meow. I love him. Anyway, I forgot what we were talking about. But I think the better thing to talk about is simper like beggars for tolerance. And gods abandon those who believe in them. Mutants do not. That is fucking just some of the most bullshit ever.
And he says that while Storm is in front of him.
Yeah. It's super powerful that the Torrance's extinction, like the last 3 episodes, is just, you know, one of the best round-ups to a season of all time. It also includes the fantastic line, make them weather your mind, sister, and make them mind your weather.
That's pretty cursed.
Yeah, it like they've done that a million times, you know what I mean? And that, again, the teamwork that goes on. Morph turns into the Hulk, and Jean telekinetically flings him around at things. And he says, Morph smash. And I just... You know, and Morph and Beast and Jean and Bishop on their little side mission. It's just like the blue team and the red team. Like, it's so... This is exactly what the best of the X-Men has always been. And then to come to the point where, you know, they're on Asteroid M. Professor X is back and he's trying to reason with Magneto after everything that's happened, after, you know, a Sunspot joining him and Rogue and, you know, them fighting each other as well, and then knowing that there is no other way, and Wolverine just trying to gut him, and saying the brave in the war, brave die first, and then to have him turn around and rip Wolverine's adamantium skeleton out. Like, fuck, I was like, where are they going to go from here? Like, how is that not the end of the season? You know, like that should be your closer. But it couldn't be better, man. And also when they're sitting, the following episode, that last episode where they're sitting in the bar, and he's, you know, Charles is talking about mutants being integrated into humanity and getting humanity on board with that, and Magneto says, well, you better do it before they start dreaming of camps. And I just... Like, I know that he hits the nail on the head a lot of the time. Was like, by the way, I was in the Holocaust. Like, that's sort of his whole thing. But to really, like, have it still make sense, to still have it be relevant to now is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think, like, that, like, the last episode, especially them... Just being in there and, like, him trying to save his best friend.
Trying to save his best friend's soul.
Yeah.
Really. Like, it's not even save him from death. It's trying to save him from, like, not eternal damnation or anything, but just trying to save the part of him that was still human. You know, it still had some value.
And, like, that, like, Charles telling him that he's a mutant. And, you know, Magneto telling him that he's a mutant. Like, sure, you can be ignorant, but it's right there. Like, you can be ignorant of the last 9 episodes, but that's right there.
Yeah, they're not they're no longer peeking out from behind metaphor. They've got their whole cock and balls out, and they're standing in front of you going, look at these. Look at this metaphorical cock and balls. I know one of the balls is bigger than the other one. That's totally normal. I know it's exaggerated, like one's kind of like a chickpea and the other one looks like a billiard ball, but, you know, look at the huge cock. Anyway, sorry, we had to get in some penis.
And then
it
it splits into like 4 others, and it like carves arm. No,
That's a mutant power someone has. That's a Morlock, I reckon. That's probably a Morlock's power. The poor Morlocks that just get shit on all the time. Evolution thrives in darkness. Mind fight. Fucking awesome. And then we get my homies. Daredevil shows up. I'm like, thank you very much. Looking fucking, I want that show now. Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Black Panther, but it's T'Chaka, not T'Challa, which is interesting. Alpha Flight and Cloak and Dagger. Like, you are just ringing out this 90s idea. Like, they're all hardcore 90s characters for me, I reckon. You know, those when they kind of had their peak. Probably Daredevil was like his run in the 80s. Oh, no, I suppose the Frank Miller run with Klaus Jensen was 1980s, but then you had in the 90s, it was like Kevin Smith and Joe Quesada, and then, Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Mack? Someone or other Mack. You know, so it was quite popular at that time. You had the Spidey cartoon, which is what this is ripped from. You even see him and Mary Jane in the same animation style a little bit later on. Like, just, yeah, really, really fucking cool. I also love, the Storm's laugh when the Phoenix turns up.
Yeah,
She's like, ha ha, you're fucked now. You are fucked now. But that then goes on to turn Bastion into the most 90s looking character design of a motherfucker I've ever seen. Look at a fucking gargoyle, mate. I loved it.
Like Bastion's like ultimate design with like the wing blades that don't make sense but are just cool. Like, yeah. You've earned that doesn't make sense but looks cool shit.
Yeah, you're a fucking villain. It's all good. I think the sort of design around him is like very deliberately 90s. I don't know, but I really dug it. Eric's in the boat, like he's in his mind in the boat, you can see Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and Polaris along with Rogue in there, which is really, really cool. Which just mean Magneto fucks so hard. He's like he was making up for his friend not being able to do it. You know what I mean? Just incredible. What? I don't know what his situation is, but then again, he is having sex with Lilandra, isn't he?
You said it's all saying no, because I didn't know if we are going to go there, but here we are.
Here we are.
We're talking about Lilandra in here with like the you can bark later, and I was gonna type in the chat.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I was gonna type in chat, walk for me, daddy.
No, that's the other way around. That power dynamic is a bit different. I feel like that it definitely that Charles is the sub and Lilandra is the dom, and she's coming out there with the whip and the business, and God bless, like treat yourselves. If it's good, consensual, fun times, just fill your boots, whatever you want. Feet, any feet stuff you want to do, butt stuff. Just have a good time with yourselves and with other mutants and other alien women as well. Like that's another fantastic thing. There is a really great episode in the middle there where they've got like all that and gladiators in it, and they're trying to put Charles on trial basically, and wipe his memory, and then he gets the vision of Gambit passing away, and he's like, "Oh, my X-Men, my children, they were making love and drinking wine, and now they're all dead." Like he really did, and you get that he feels bad that he let it all happen. I think that the final fight, like as the asteroid falls and they're trying to stop it, the opera version of the score, like of the theme song, is absolutely fucking slaps. They've all of the score is really, really impressive in this. Like, again, it's a cartoon. It doesn't need to be this good, or it doesn't need to be this good for the audience that you would normally target a cartoon with. But I think this knows that no, we need to take this more seriously. And also, this is the first thing that Marvel has done with the X-Men. Yes. It's, you know what I mean? Like, it's not connected to Fox. It's connected to the Fox original cartoon series, but this is the first MCU built. Sorry, I know it's not canonical to whatever else is going on. It might be in the multiverse because you get the Doctor Strange 2, the hover chair, with a dildo in it.
Oh my god.
See our Doctor Strange 2 episode. That might be one of my faves. I know you asked what my favourite episodes with. That one probably. But yeah, it's still like they had to come out strong. And now the problem is, how do they do this? Don't do the come out strong after I said a dildo thing. Don't do it. Don't laugh. Do not laugh. You youth. You youths and your dirty words. Says the 40-year-old guy who just does cock and ball jokes all the time. They had to really make it work. And I think by having it be so operatic and so big, it's outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. And I'll tell you something else. Time travel and the X-Men go together like Choco and triangles. That's all I'm saying.
I'm the creator of that joke, and I didn't get it either.
Yeah, well, it'll take a second. Yeah, no. During our Jaws commentary, Addie was eating a Choco Triangles, which is just an off-brand Toblerone, and I thought it was fucking hysterical. Just quickly want to run through some stuff here, and then we'll get your sort of feelings you round up here. The end, the denouement, the post fight, post sent back in time shit. It's 6 months after E-Day. There's the Days of Future Past posters. Forge is there trying to find everyone. Bishop turns up. You find them back in time. Beast gets the great end line. Oh dear, where they're stuck in the BCs within En Sabanur, who would eventually go on to become Apocalypse, and you get the stinger, which is surely hinting that the Gambit's going to come back, right? What was that? You got to speak up. It's a podcast.
So much death. I don't know why I did that.
So much death.
Yeah. That's what
it's. I mean, yeah. But so just as a roundup, like it's such a great show. Episode by episode, it gets stronger and stronger. I think that video you sent me of that guy saying, at first he was worried it wouldn't live up to the 90s. Then he was worried it wouldn't end as well as it started. And then lastly, he was worried that he's not going to love anything as much as this ever again. It really does have that feel. It's an excellent show. If you haven't seen the original series, it doesn't matter. It picks up, quite easily. You don't even need to know who the characters are. I'm recommending it to everybody, especially people who are into animation or animators. I got a friend who's an animator and he hadn't watched it. I'm like, dude, just peep it. Like it'll make your life better. I loved it. It was 10 out of 10 for me, 100%. How do you feel about it in a totality?
It's hard, because I don't really like the X-Men.
Well done. That was clever. If anybody who doesn't have a firm history with our show, go back to any episode and he mentions them at some point. We did our X-Men episodes, didn't we?
Yeah, we did like a year ago.
Yeah, we did them, and we're going back. We're going back to do X2 again. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah. This is the X-Men, and I don't know how much I can put into words, because I honestly can't. This is something that I actually can't put into words, because the X-Men have meant so much to me throughout my life, and to see them come back and give me hope is it's the whole the Superman left, man. It's I felt like I could feel again.
Yeah, and I'd make the argument this is more poignant, more prescient, and more interesting than Superman has ever been.
Oh, definitely. It's like, you have 50 years of Superman flying around, and then suddenly he has kids. Of course that's going to be better than 50 years of him flying around.
Yeah, I mean that show is pretty tight, I must admit. I've got to go back to it, honestly. Yeah, X-Men 97, everyone. You should totally check it out. We love it, and we'll be back talking about X-Men for the rest of, for one more bit of little Pride Month, because we come out bi-weekly. But we're talking about X2, which is my favourite of all the X's, and then we'll come back and have a chat about Logan in July as well. But yeah, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, we love it. Addie, Do we have any questions this week, X-Men related or otherwise?
We do have questions.
Sexy.
But before I get into
sexy. I'm making an X with my two hands, everybody, for those of you who also forgot that it's a podcast. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I do want to do our 3 favorite scenes and 3 favorite lines, though. Even though you've quoted like all the lines that Magneto said.
Yeah, well, I mean, he got the best of them, honestly. So, all right, well, you go ahead and do your favorite lines, and then I'll do my favorite lines, and we'll do scenes.
Right, so are we going like sip, or are we going 3, 2, 1 me and then 3, 2, 1 you?
You go 3, 2, 1 you.
Right, so number 3 for me is the conversation between Gambit and Nightcrawler when they're watching Rogue and she's watching Dazzler perform.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, just marry the Belle. He's like, some things be more than touch. No, that's why he says like later on. And then it's like Nightcrawler is Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler is Nightcrawler, yeah.
I love that he is the faith outreach for the time that we spend in Genosha.
Yeah.
Like I love that for him, and coming from being hunted and still being a man of faith, a person of faith, is like it makes him just immensely strong. And you're right, he's the glue of the X-Men, and I love him with all my heart. Yeah,
he's the best. So good.
This is weird because I come up with this shit, but I don't think about it.
That's all right.
My second one would be shit. I forget. The Jean and Storm interaction with make them mind your weather, sister. Make them weather your mind.
Yep. Yeah. So great. So it's really well written. The whole show.
Like, just like you know what these characters have gone through in the time that they've spent apart, and like there's real sisterhood, and like you don't get any of that in the movies.
No, not at all.
They
don't have time, I guess.
Yeah, and you hardly get close to any feeling that kind of sensation in the 30 movies that the MCU has done.
Yeah. No, I mean, they're too concerned with what's happening further down the line. Like this, it felt like with this show, they were like, like I said before, we don't know if we're getting another season, so let's just fucking put it all in here and get everybody on board and give everybody the time to develop. I mean, even someone like Cable, like there's no reason Cable should fucking have an emotional arc in this. They didn't even say that he was Nathan Summers in the original series. He was just Cable.
Yeah.
They didn't allude to that at all. So, yeah, no, I completely agree. What was number 1 quote?
It's a word that Magneto says.
I nearly said the C word then. I'm glad I didn't.
Wow.
I know, I pulled it back. I was like, don't say that. That's too much. And by that I mean Charles.
Oh no. No, I have 3 things in my head I can't say.
See, welcome to my world.
Yeah. Bigot.
Yeah. The word.
Not you, but...
No, I know you're not calling me a bigot. Like, that's fine. Yeah, no, to hear that specific word, because it does encapsulate a lot of shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he could crush all of them, but he isn't because he believes in Charles.
He throws a train at a motherfucker. Like, come on. My favorites are the doctor at the hospital who won't give birth to a mutant. He says, you guys, if your powers go out of control, and what if it's a C-section? And he schnicked his claws out and goes, I'll give you a C-section. Like, I'll show you a C-section. Pretty fucking cool. I also like his line when Rogue sort of loses her shit, like why she isn't at Jubilee loses her shit at why Rogue isn't at Gambit's funeral, because she's off kicking people's asses. And Wolverine says, grief's a lonely war. It's so true. Grieving is something that you can do with other people, but it's something you do alone, because everybody grieves in their own way. And yeah, my favorite line is of the whole thing is, who would allow a terrorist to be their leader? And yet so many nations, what nation would allow a terrorist to be their leader, yet so many allow leaders to be terrorists? That speaks so succinctly of where we are at the moment in terms of global politics, and they don't have to do it. It's not knocking anything. It's not going, hey, this is what we're about. It's just making some things clear and obvious as to what the X-Men do so well, which is live in whatever time they're in. That's a great way to put it, actually. X-Men are of their time, whatever that time is. Like, wherever you go, you can find social issues and political issues and, an understanding of the human race at that particular point in time in those comic books, or in those stories. So yeah, I love it. Favorite scenes, I'll do really quickly. Gambit's death, leading up to it, like the attack of just the whole Genosha sort of sequence, I guess. But that in particular, him on the bike and Rogue flying next to him, and then him charging up Mastermold is pretty great. I really liked the Wolverine and Jean scene after she's realized that she's the clone, and she's sitting there, with the bubbles around her, like, looking into her past, and then that sort of correlates perfectly with when she's sort of coming out of it, and he's like, look into my mind and you'll see what you mean to me, and how powerful that was to her. So those two sort of in concert with each other. The third one is probably the scene where the building falls and the Prime Sentinels show up. I just think it's and that with the jumping out of the plane, like the attack in the first episode where the Sentinels attack and they all falling out of the plane. They're just the perfect way that you do action on this grand of a scale for an X-Men movie. So take note, MCU people who are working on the X-Men pictures. This is the bar that you need to at least reach, if nothing else. Scenes.
My number 3 is the jump from the plane, because we've never seen the X-Men ever like work together as a team.
Not like that, no.
Yeah, like there've been parts of it, like in the movies where the X3 like opening with the fake out of Days of Future Past thing, and there's a little bit in Apocalypse too, but it's not as good.
No, they don't work in concert the same way.
Yeah. Like
number 2.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Like I've always loved the fact that like the X on Cyclops is like the Y thing, like his Y string, I guess.
I think it's some sort of belt thing that holds his pants up, but yeah, how it's the comm link.
Yeah, like I've loved that, because like that's such an innovative thing that it would make sense, but nobody's ever done it.
Yeah, no, totally.
My number 2 would be this goes in tandem with the line, but fuck it, it's in episode 2, and Madeline says that he's coming, and Logan goes, "Who? I've come from Apocalypse."
Apocalypse? Yeah, we weren't even talking about him, you idiot. Like, yeah. Sitting there drinking beer and being passive aggressive.
But okay, my favorite scene is Nightcrawler just fucking slashing the Prime Sentinels, and the score is orchestral, and in the soundtrack it's called Nightcrawler, and it's his theme, and I love it because he's doing all that, but he's also he's shaping himself in like a very. It almost feels like he's dancing the way that he's like slashing these people, and he figures out that they can fix himself back, so he starts just bamfing them like they learn. And I hate that we never got a Hugh Jackman and Alec Hammond team up, because seeing that but in live action would have been amazing.
Beautiful. Well, that's it, everyone. Let's get into some questions. right, here we go. Questions these 3, did you say?
Question 1 comes from our main man, Chaz.
What's up? What's up, bruv?
Right, he asks, take characters out of the equation, what would the dream mutant ability for sex be?
The best ability for it.
Yeah, best or best, basically.
So ones that they already have, or do we have to make one up?
I guess he's asking us to make one up.
Okay. Well, because it's, like, if you're Wolverine, you probably have a lot of stamina. If you're Beast, you probably hung like a fucking bar lap. If you're Magneto, you can dildo people from across the room as long as the dildo's made out of metal, If you're Professor Xavier, you could make them, think that you look like Chris Hemsworth.
Let's start with something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what Charles Xavier's chair is actually a dildo?
Yes, we've established that.
Yeah, what if it's like an actual consensual thing that Magneto does for Charles, like transcontinentally?
Oh yes, turn on my chair, Eric. I want to get my fucking come on. I'll get Riggs. Come on, mate. That's just terrible. So that I don't know. If it was a mutant ability that would be most beneficial to intercourse that isn't already established and that is also useful outside of intercourse, I guess it would be something like what Mr. Fantastic has. You can change your shape. Morph would be great.
Morph would be great.
What do you feel like? What do you feel like tonight, honey? We could be anything you want. We could literally be anything you want. I could be a person. I could be a fucking goat. I could be just any, and it's all consensual. So just fill your boots.
Why?
You could have sex with a packet of crisps.
Why is animal cruelty like the second thing he jumped to?
I didn't. That's why I said that. That's why I said that it's consensual, so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
I'm not advocating having sex with animals. Animals can't consent, but Morph can.
Morph can, for sure.
They're into it. They're into it.
Yeah.
There you go, Chaz. You're welcome.
Yeah, no, I don't think I can top that.
That's fine. That's our dual answer.
All right. Question number 2. What are your top 3 X-Men of this show?
Of the show?
So like X-Men 97.
It's in descending order: Beast, Nightcrawler, Gambit. Remember it.
Cool.
You?
Again, it's hard for me because I haven't really liked the X-Men in a long time. So my number 3 would be because I just never thought that we'd see her. I know she's not an X-Men, but Dazzler, because that was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, Dazzler was a bit of a surprise, I'll admit, but that's cool. That's pretty cool.
But as the team, I would go Rogue, Morph, for reasons, and Nightcrawler.
Nice. I love it. That'd be a good team altogether. And the final question being...
Which character would you like to see in season 2?
Gambit. It's a bit cold-blooded. For myself, Iceman. I love Iceman.
Man.
And they had him in the portrait of the OG, like the original, Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, series. It was those original dudes and ladies. Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Can you imagine
Drake come back?
Iceman and Havoc coming back and leading this new team of X-Men? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, X-Force or something. Even though X-Force was in Genosha doing some stuff, but yeah, very, very cool. What about you?
I'm gonna go purely selfish, and I'm gonna say Magic.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was there for a second.
She was. I didn't know that we'd see her after Morph turned into her, but she was. Yeah. She was there.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, she's a great character, and that also means you can get Colossus in there, I reckon. So yeah, let's say that Iceman, Colossus, and Magic, And there it is.
I also want Madeline Pryor because redhead and black.
She's I mean, it's, trust me, I love that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Just fingers crossed for season 2. X-Men 98. Let's do it.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Well, friends, that's it for today. Come on back next fortnight, and we'll be talking about X2, the fantastic X picture from, it's like 2002, 2003 or something like that. 2005, might be a little earlier than that. But anyway, we're going to be talking about that in our X-Men run. Again, happy Pride Month, everyone. Much love to you all. Addie.
I love you.
I love you too, buddy. It's been beautiful. So great to catch up and chat about this stuff. And we'll see you again soon. And remember,
stay amazing, stay safe, happy Pride Month. Go watch X-Men 97, for fuck's sake.
Do it. Shit.